some of my support. If I lose the nomination, he will not get that support. If I lose the nomination, and we're here to do everything we can to win it, I will fight as hard as I can to make certain that Donald Trump does not become president of the United States. Is Nicole here? USA Today? John Nolan, CBS. John here? John, you here? Yeah. Did you have a question?
What have you heard back in reaching out to superdelegates and asking them to look at your wins and ones that you may win over?
Well, I think there are two separate issues. It's not just me. It is people in the states. If you live in Colorado, if you live in some of the other states, Minnesota, where we have won landslide victories, I think the superdelegates are hearing from the people in their own state saying, hey, you know what, how about representing the people of our state, whether it's Colorado, Minnesota, or whatever state it may be. And we have got to begin the conversation with many of the superdelegates who signed on with Secretary Clinton very early on. And if I think the objective evidence, and we will see, we still have time to go. We've got to go through June 14th. But I think that if the evidence is there, that we are by far the stronger candidate, I'm confident that we will win some of those folks over. Dan Roberts, Guardian. Dan here? Hey, Dan.
Whatever happens next, you have, as you said, come a long way in a year. Looking back, what's lasting achievement are you most proud of? Or to put it another way, if this uphill road doesn't lead to nomination, what do you think your political legacy will be?
I'm not into legacy, Dan. Right now, in the next month and a half, we're fighting to win every delegate that we can. I hope my legacy will be that I was a very good president of the United States. Mary Alice here? Where are you, Mary? There you are.
If you do not secure the majority of pledged delegates, do you still believe that superdelegates should switch and back you, in essence, rejecting the opinion of the voters?
Yeah, well, it's a funny thing. We're, right now, you have state after state where we have won landslide victories, and there are superdelegates who are saying we don't have to listen to the people. We'll vote for Hillary Clinton. I think at the end of the day, what superdelegates are going to have to consider, and by the way, I hope, it's a steep hill to climb, I hope that we will win the pledged delegates. But at the end of the day, the responsibility that superdelegates have is to decide what is best for this country and what is best for the Democratic Party. And if those superdelegates conclude that Bernie Sanders is the best candidate, the strongest candidate to defeat Trump and anybody else, yes, I would very much welcome their support. Danny Freeman, NBC. Danny? Hey, Danny.
Rallies. You said in California you're going to hold a lot of big rallies. Yes. Have there been any lessons learned from, say, states like New York where you projected you would do better that you will apply to these upcoming 10 states?
Well, here's the difficulty. A good question, Danny. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to answer that in this sense. Talk about New York State. We got, 42, 43% of the vote. We did poorly. 3 million independents in New York State were disenfranchised. They could not vote because of the crime of writing down that they were independents. I think that that's absurd. Now, I cannot tell you, and I won't tell you, that if the independents, 3 million of them, were allowed to vote. And by the way, in most polls, in most contests, we do far, far better than Clinton does in the independent vote. Sometimes when you get 2 out of 3 votes. I cannot tell you that if independents were allowed to vote in New York State, we would have won. I don't know. No question, though, we would have done much, much better. So we walk into, not only are we taking on, I don't mean to cry here, we know what we're getting into. We know what the rules are. We accept them. We're doing the best that we can. But please appreciate, in state after state where independents cannot vote, we are at a real disadvantage. And it's a little bit absurd because independents do vote in a general election. So if Democrats want the strongest candidate out there to take on a Republican, I think it's pretty dumb to be excluding independents, and I hope and will fight whether I win or not, to change those rules. But to answer your question, frankly, in hindsight, it is always, you can always think about things that you should have done better. And someday, I will tell you all those things. But at the end of and that's true for any campaign. I'm sure you talk to Clinton's campaign, they'll tell you all the things they could have done better. But, I am enormously proud of the campaign that we have run up to this point, and I hope it gets better. Any of you here who would have bet that on May 1st, Bernie Sanders would have won 17 primaries and caucuses, if you had the odds that I think you would have a year ago, you wouldn't be sitting here. You'd be off very wealthy individuals. So we're proud of the campaign that we ran. Millie Legerin here? Millie here? Millie here? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Did you want? And that may be the last question. I think we got to get a plane here.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what Clinton said about reaching out to Sanders supporters?
Pardon me? Okay. All right, listen, thank you all very much. We got to catch a plane to get to South Bend. Okay, see ya. Bye-bye.